Switching out into the loaded Typhlosion, and it is the bear trap in the back. We're almost at the back-to-back blast burns, and Stunfisk is about to get wrecked. So let's get into today's video. Today we have yet another triple shadow, really unique team. Is this team meta relevant? Not really. I've built this team to target specific Pokemon that we are seeing an increase in. So would I recommend it? Probably not. But if you like having fun and some spice, this is the team for you. I did manage to go 12, 1 and 12 on the day. Not too bad, not fantastic. So these aren't all from the same set. They are more for entertainment purposes. And the mon that I am looking to target are stuff like Cobalion, Virizion, Trevenant, and of course this big tin can we can see on the screen. So getting into the battles, and in game one we see the tin can in the lead. You absolutely love to see it. You will notice I'm actually running Shadow Claw because without it, stuff like Cresselia is going to be a huge problem. We save switch into Articuno, and I am fishing for the boost with the ancient power. My huge cojones call the feather dance because Pidgeot users love to bait. This time I'm going for the icy wind in case the opponent chooses to double shield. They do not. So Articuno has maintained some sort of alignment, and it is Talonflame in the back. Unfortunately, we do get incinerated all the way down. However, once again, Talonflame, a Pokemon that loves to bait. I absolutely dare the opponent to throw the Brave Bird. This opponent really needs to learn some better baiting techniques as we show no respect. We go straight for the Blast Burn. Blast Burn lands for absolutely huge damage. This can only be a Flame Charge. We're going to immediately switch out into Hariyama, commit to the counter farm down, and Registeel, you my good friend, are about to get smacked the absolute shit out of, and that's going to be all she wrote. We are playing it out for some unknown reason. We shield up the Zap Cannon, and the opponent finally realises the game is over. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. This time we see the Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death in the lead. We throw on 7. We're going to outpace to the Blast Burn. Blast Burn lands for decent resisted damage. Typhlosion hits like an absolute truck. Once again, I am going to call the Flame Charge, and this opponent once again has baited me. We take the extra. I am going to shield this up. I am going to look to Shadow Claw all the way down. The opponent now switches out into a Walrus. The Powder Snow farm down is very ambitious. Typhlosion draws a shield with the Blast Burn, and I enter the arena with big fat Hariyama. It is the battle of the fatties. You can see Hariyama is really hard to use. One reason for that is because it fills up more or less the entirety of the screen. It's very difficult to see what Pokemon you are facing, but we tank the Earthquake. We manage to get to the Heavy Slam, take them out, they come in to Cresselia. We throw the resisted close combat, and if you're wondering why, because I know they are going to Psycho Cut me down, so we do choose to lower our defense to give the opponent less farm. We can now bring in Articuno onto this. They go for the Moonblast, which we tank absolutely no problem. We are going to shield up the next Moonblast. I'm expecting the opponent to try and switch out. There is the switch. You can see we held our energy. The opponent goes down to 1 Ice Shard, and now we are going to start spamming out Icy Winds. The opponent still hanging on to that shield, but Articuno absolutely loaded. Is going for Icy Wind number 2. Finally, the opponent does shield it up, and now double debuff. This move isn't even going to KO, even if they're running Future Sight. They are not. We make one more Icy Wind. If this doesn't KO, I'm just going to switch out and snipe them with a Shadow Claw, and that's exactly going to be the play. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. Gyarados in the lead. Not fantastic. As you can see, some evident holes in my team building. I believe I saw 3 Tapu Finis in the lead, and I instant top left in them all. But it is what it is. But we attempted to catch the charge move on Articuno. We were unsuccessful. The opponent didn't throw their energy. They now switch out into an Umbreon. You're going to see just how good Shadow Articuno is, just because of how spammy we are. Well, not particularly spammy, but we are lowering the opponent's attack multiple times. You can see that even though Umbreon is the thickest mon in existence with its 6 million HP, Articuno does have a reasonable matchup. I'd look to CMP tie the opponent onto the Icy Wind, which does draw a shield. I believe I will survive this, so I'm not even going to bother shielding. The opponent throws the foul play, so we manage to get to 1 more Icy Wind on another CMP tie. The opponent is going to have to go down 2 shields, which they don't. So we have managed to flip switch, but ironically we're just going to come back in with Typhlosion. We are going for the resisted Blast Burn. Blast Burn gets the shield. I was really hoping the opponent let it go. They did not, so we are going to have to shield up the Aqua Tail. The opponent is probably at 1 more Aqua Tail. We switch out into Hariyama. I am going to throw the close combat on a CMP tie to the Frenzy Plant. It did a reasonable amount of damage. I was really hoping it got him into a Shadow Claw farm down range. It does not. So we're putting it all on Typhlosion. Once again, I'm going to look to CMP tie him to the Frenzy Plant to maximise my energy gain. This is going to be taken care of Venusaur. Back in comes the Gary. It's going to be a race. I believe we are going to get outpaced. We're going to try our best. Can Typhlosion make the blast burn? We cannot. And that's going to be all she wrote. GG's to the opponent. Surprisingly, quite a close game considering Gyarados does beat the entirety of our team. Moving on to the next battle, we see Galvantula in the lead. This is really a matchup where you wish you had Incinerate. As always, we call the bait and Galvantula goes for a bait. We are going to return fire with the blast burn. Does the opponent respect the damage? Yes, they do. However, we are going to outpace to blast burn. Number 2, is the opponent willing to go down? 2 shields, holy smoke. The spider has double shielded. We come in with Hariyama, and why change the habit of a lifetime? We call the lunge bait and the opponent does go for the lunge. We've already no-shielded 3 lunges, so this time I am going to call the discharge, and that is a great shield. Hariyama commits to the counter farm down. I'm looking top right. I see a white and black circle. I thought this was Obstagoon. That's why I'm throwing a heavy slam bait, and it's actually Mandibuzz. So this is one of the drawbacks of using Hariyama. What an absolute noob I am. But either way, Articuno comes in. They throw the Dark Pulse, and it is Greedent in the back. So this game is going to be over. Hariyama are about to go to town. We're just going to lower this Greedent's attack multiple times with Icy Winds. Greedent super thick, but Articuno hits really hard. I'm going to look to throw every time on CMP to not allow any free bullet seeds. This second Icy Wind does get Greedent into the yellow. I'm still opting to save my shield for Hariyama. My switch timer pops up. We come in, commit to the counter farm down. Mandibuzz has no shields. We throw 3 counters, which is pretty poor timing, but I'm at the back-to-back move. So first close combat, get some low. Second close combat's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Speaking of timing, you actually want to throw 4 counters, but we had a shield, so it's pretty irrelevant. But moving on to the next one. We see Nidoqueen in the lead, another Pokemon that we are ABA weak to, so I go straight for the blast burn. The opponent builds up to the earth power. Once again, we are going to call a bait. This video is the absolute pinnacle of why I like to call baits, because if you see shadow Pokemon, opponents think they can bait you and you will shield. I absolutely do not. So we managed to lose lead, but we did get a shield advantage. We're going to come in with Articuno. We tank the Poison Fang. We're going to overfarm just slightly, take him out with an Icy Wind, and guess what? You know what often comes with Nidoqueen? Hello, Double Dark backline. Meet Shadow Hariyama. The opponent has made a huge mistake. So if you're on an ABB team, you really need to switch out into one of your B types to draw out the counter. This opponent did not, and now Hariyama is going to absolute town. We let the first power-up punch through. We're going to shield up the second power-up punch. This is an opportunity where you could bait, but we're going risky. We're throwing the close combat. This will lower our defense. Do we survive the counter? Yes, we do, and Hariyama slaps the shit out of this basic bitch. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see everyone's favourite Metatree Trevenant in the lead. As always, we are calling a bait, but my huge cojones this time are going to switch out, looking to catch the bait on Articuno, because if they did actually Shadow Ball us, it would near one-shot. And as smug as I am, I know I'm less smug, as Articuno is hard punished with a walrus. People thought this walrus was extinct, maybe in the Great League, but in Ultra League it's still absolutely everywhere. Ancient Power got a buff, so it now does reasonable damage. The opponent is going to have to throw if they look to farm down. Would make one more Ancient Power, so we do get taken out, but this is now absolute farm town for Hariyama. You will notice, much like Shadow Machamp, these shadow counters really do rip through anything weak to fight in. They're really not counters from something like a basic bitch Deoxys or Obstagoon. We counter all the way down, back out comes the tree. We're 1 counter away from the neutral heavy slam. Heavy slam draws a shield from the tree. We switch out into Typhlosion, and it is the bear trap in the back. We're going straight for the blast burn. The opponent shows no respect. They're near one shot. We can safely shield up the rock slide. We're going to be able to shadow claw down. The Trevenant is going to get outpaced to the back-to-back blast burns. They come in, throw a seed bomb. We're easily going to shield it up, and we're going to fire off the first blast burn, which will draw the shield if the opponent wants to play it out. They're obviously thinking they've got a chance, but guess what, Mr. Opponent? You do not. We take them out with a blast burn, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see Nidoqueen in the lead. This one's even more scary than the last one, as it is Shadow. This opponent is going straight Poison Fang, and look at the damage. It gets us super low. The opponent looks to catch a blast burn on their Talonflame, but we are going to throw a blast burn anyway. We really need this to land. The opponent lets it go. We come in with Articuno. I am going to shield once. whatever they throw, we should be able to Ice Shard down afterwards. They actually go for a Brave Bird. I think that's a pretty smart play, as it gives us less farm. And now in the back, the opponent has a Berserker. So obviously Ice hits for resisted, but you can see Articuno is hitting pretty hard. The second one is going to get them almost into the red. If they choose not to shield, I'm really hoping the opponent gives up a shield. Let's see. Icy Wind does get shielded. The opponent's still going to have to throw to take us out, or Articuno will get to a third Icy Wind. The opponent does dump their energy. We can now align Hariyama onto this Berserker. The opponent switches out into Nidoqueen. They've only got one shield remaining. We're going straight for close combat. Single resistant. It does huge damage. The opponent is going to throw a charge move. We're going to shield up absolutely anything, and we're going to look to try and go for the fast move, beat down, finish. Back out comes Berserker. Can they make a charge move? Yes, they can. 1 HP and a Dream takes us out, but one Shadow Claw is going to be enough to take this game. Moving on to the next one. We see a Purified Machamp in the lead. I wonder if this thing is running return. I'm not really sure. I want to find out. The opponent builds up a boatload of energy. We fire off the Blast Burn, and that does draw a shield from the opponent. We don't really have a great response to Muck. Luckily for us, they go straight for the Dark Pulse, which is more energy. We return fire with the Blast Burn. The opponent lets it go, and then now they come in to a Walrus. If Walrus does look to Powder Snow us all the way down, they are going to take a lot of damage. Blast Burn goes unshielded. Holy smokes. Walrein is now left deep into the red. You can see it's not even a Shadow Walrus. Typhlosion just hits like an absolute truck. We come in with Hariyama. We manage to one counter, take him out, and it's Trevenant in the back. We show Articuno, and the opponent runs for the hills. GG's. We see the newly buffed Dragonite in the lead. Not really what we're looking for. Is both Typhlosion and Hariyama are going to get obliterated by this thing. We tank the Dragon Claw. We make the Blast Burn. Blast Burn is resisted, but you've seen in the video, Typhlosion doesn't care about typings. We draw a shield from the Dragonite, and that is somewhat amusing to myself, as that is a resisted charge move. We can now come in with Articuno. We are going to tank the Dragon Claw. Look to commit to the Ice Shard farm down. They come in to a Walrus. We are going to chip them with an Ancient Power. This is going to put them in a nice comfortable counter farm down range. The opponent chooses to bank some energy and switch out into Swampert. We don't need to worry about the first Hydro Cannon. We are going to survive. I'm going to look to CMP tie him on the second close combat. Does the opponent want to give up the final shield? Yes, they do, and this game now is going to be over. All we've got to do is get to the back-to-back close combats. We shield up the first Hydro Cannon. We still have a shield remaining, so I am going to shield up Hydro Cannon number 2. We know Walrein has a charge move banked, but guess what? It doesn't matter. We're at the back-to-back. One close combat is going to take care of Swampert, and it's going to be high Walrus by Walrus. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle. We see another Nidoqueen in the lead. So obviously when you run these sort of teams that don't have that much meta relevance, you are going to see quite a few bad leads. That is not the algorithm, that is just you trying to run spice, or in my case, some sort of nonsense. We look to CMP tie this Nidoqueen to the second Blast Burn. The opponent does shield it up, and my counting, if I do say so myself, was immaculate. I'm just kidding, but it was a pretty nice play. We now bring in the Articuno. We know we are going to have to tank a Poison Fang. I highly doubt the opponent is on Stone Edge. They don't even build up to it either way. They now switch out into Umbreon. We're super quick on the response to Hariyama. The opponent obviously has Double Dark. They're looking to draw out our Dark type counter, but I'm quite happy with that, as we do have the coverage move of Heavy Slam. I go for the close combat. The opponent doesn't shield it up. If Nidoqueen is going to return, which it does, they are going to have to respect the Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam takes them out, and there is Dark type number 2. We get a nice bit of damage off on the Scrafty. We've got the Icy Wind locked and loaded. The opponent smartly doesn't shield the first one. We're going to shield up anything. It's just a power-up punch. We've still got 2 shields. We do need to start shielding up something. Can Articuno get the job done? We let the second power-up punch go through. We're at the next Icy Wind. This will be drawing the final shield from the opponent, and it's going to be Ice Shard versus counter, and Articuno sneaks there. The opponent should have committed to the counter farm down. They do not, and Articuno manages to take this game. Moving on to the next one. We see Toxicroak in the lead. A pretty spicy pick from the opponent. We count to 6, look to catch the Mud Bomb, which is resisted on Articuno. Toxicroak super attack weighted, and that essentially does nothing. The opponent now responds with a Lycanroc. Holy smokes, this is the battle of the Spice Lords. Articuno is going to return fire with an Icy Wind, and it does do big damage. Lycanroc, evidently not that bulky. The second Psychic Fang comes through. It doesn't quite take us out. We get one more Ice Shard off. We can now come back in with the Typhlosion. We will Shadow Claw down before they make a charge move. So we are sitting in a decent-ish spot, or at least so I thought. Until they showed Dragon Breath Giratina in the back. Evidently, it's not the battle of the Spice Lords. The opponent's got a couple of spicy picks with the top meta monster. We land the back-to-back Blast Burns. We look to snipe with Hariyama. Out comes Toxicroak. Counter is resisted. We go for the Heavy Slam. I am looking to no bubble it. The opponent shields it up anyway. The opponent is going to throw a charge move. Hariyama needs to resist the counter down. Can we do it? Almost, maybe, no, it's a simultaneous KO. It's now going to be Shadow Claw versus Dragon Breath. The opponent makes a mistake throwing. We shield it up. Can we manage to Shadow Claw down? Holy smokes, we end in a tie. GG's, thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. Evidently, I forgot to cut this trainer name out. If you're wondering, I normally cut trainer names out in case people get offended by my light-hearted banter and somewhat Mickey-taking, trash-talking commentary style. But either way, I'll try to be nice. The opponent goes for a Dragon Claw. Typhlosion tanks it. On the chin, we return fire with the Blast Burn. And once again, Typhlosion draws a shield from a dragon with a fire move. You love to see it. They now bring in the big tin cannon. We've got a great response with Hariyama. We are going to look to shield the Zap Cannon. Hopefully we don't get debuff. We are going to look to go for as many counters as possible. I'm going to throw the close combat on what should be a CMP tie. I hit no bubbles in case the opponent opts to no shield. They do not. They manage to shield it up. Back out comes the Dragonite. Heavy Slam should do decent damage as this thing is going to be super glassy. The opponent shields it up. Can we get to the close combat? No, we can't. We come in with Articuno. We are going to have to save our shield for whatever's in the back. Dragon Claw does a decent amount of damage, and it is Escavalier in the back. Counters are neutral. We do resist all of their charge move. Ancient Power lands, gets them down to around half HP. I am going to have to respect that. Whatever resisted move they go for. Luckily, it isn't a Acid Spray, so no defense load. We go for the Ancient Power. Can we Ice Shard down? Yes, we can. Dragonite out of energy. One Ice Shard's enough to seal the deal. GG's, and thanks for playing. So those were the battles with a really fun, spicy team that I did throw together. As you can see in the last battle, I think I'm around 2300. I was in the 2400s, but I'm not a fan of queue times. I've been super busy with work, so if my elo gets too high and after queue, I'm just going to tank running teams like this. But if you appreciate the spicy, fun content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one.